Hello, Kotaku. My name is Jason Schreier, and I'm here with Stephen Totillo.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, so we today are looking at Zelda: A Link to the Past, but this is a very special version of Link to the Past. It is called the Randomizer, and
It's in Japanese as well.
it is in Japanese. Yeah, there's a reason for that. I mean, I think it's because the text is goes faster, and This is made by a bunch of speedrunners, but we'll get into that in a second.
This is running on the NX?
This is running on the NX. We are streaming an NX game for the
I
first
know
time.
that this is how we were going to break the news.
Yeah, congratulations. If you're watching this, you now know what the NX is.
No, we're kidding.
So I should explain. So it looks like Link to the Past, as you can see. It is Link to the Past, except, as you will see in a second, the locations of every single item and every single chest have been randomized. So you're usually supposed to get the magic lamp there, but instead we got 3 bombs. Which might be interesting. I wonder if we can do anything with bombs here, because you're not supposed to have bombs at this point.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I mean, most of you watching this probably know, but Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is one of the most heralded and beloved games of all time. Came out for the Super Nintendo back in the 90s and is seen by many as the apex of one of the greatest franchises of all time. And there's still a community of people who love this game, and Jason recently wrote about that community and some of the cool things they were doing, and this is one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I should say real quick up front, so this was made by a guy named David Carroll and his team, and they're a team of modders who are actively working on it. This is actually a beta version of the most recent version of the randomizer, so there might be some glitches or something or another. They wanted me to say that up front. But you can actually get it online if you're interested in playing. If you know Link to the Past really well and you want to play a version that just changes everything up in a really interesting way, you can just download this.
Now, you would always get your sword there in that
yes,
spot?
That's normal. So they didn't randomize the sword because David was telling me they want you to play the game through with the sword. And so you actually can't even get anything. So this, I think that is supposed to be something else. I don't know exactly what, but that is random too.
Well, how do you normally light that thing on fire?
With a lamp, yeah.
With the lamp that you got in the house.
Yeah,
okay, right.
yeah. But you don't have to.
Right.
I think you can. I'm not sure when you would need the lamp, but it's actually designed. There's an algorithm in place, so the game knows what items you would require at each point, and so you can't get stuck. So I don't know if you need the Power Glove at one point, which not the Power Glove from the NES.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that it was called the Power Glove, and you were telling me that the other day, and I was like, well, you mean the thing with the keyboard on the wrist? But no, I guess there was a thing called the Power Glove.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so bad. So if you need the Power Glove at one point, you will be able to find it somewhere. It'll always be accessible to you, but you have to know the game really well because you have to know where all the various chests are at different points.
So do you know, what's your level of comfort here?
I know it really well.
Right now?
Yeah, I know the game really well. I think that was not supposed to be a key, so we just got an extra key, I think. Which might be useful later. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. So, I know the game. Yeah, I know Link to the Past really well. I don't know how well you remember it, but I've just played it so many times that I've kind of basically memorized the gist of it. But I haven't memorized the exact contents of every single chest, so I don't know exactly what should be.
Yeah, you're more of a go back and play the old games again person than I am. You did the Super Mario World review for us a couple of years ago, and I'm usually just playing something new.
Yeah, you're not a retro gamer.
No, I'm actually very suspicious of my affinity for any games that I liked as a kid, and I worry that if I ever went back to them, I'd be like, this game is not as good. Because a lot of them where I have dabbled and gone back, I found that they're just designed to be super punishing in order to make them last longer.
Not Link to the Past.
I suspect this is not one of those. And I loved...
Oh, so that's in its correct place. That's interesting. The boomerang is supposed to be in the chest.
I loved A Link Between Worlds a couple of years ago, and that came out on the 3DS, and I enjoyed kind of being back into this mode of game, but,
Yeah, and it's in the... Did you recognize, all the Easter eggs and all the similarities between this and Link Between Worlds, sorry?
I don't remember that I did. I mean, maybe I noticed some of them, but it was... Link to the Past is not a game that I think I replayed a ton by the time I had an N64. Once I had an N64, it was I played Ocarina of Time a billion times, and Majora's Mask and GoldenEye a ton, but I didn't go back to my... you know what it is? I traded in my Super Nintendo in order to get my N64, so that would explain it. Yeah.
Yes, that would explain it. I played this game a lot as a kid, even before I hope I'm saying the right things, by the way. I can't read this at all. Yeah, so that's interesting because we don't even have a bow, but now we have arrows. I think that's supposed to be maybe rupees or a heart piece or something.
Can you just stab a guy with the arrow? That would be great.
I don't think so, sadly. But we do have bombs. That might be useful at some point to like break the sequence in some way. So the really interesting thing about this mod, and yeah, so I would not recommend checking this out unless you know Link to the Past really well. Because if you don't know it well, then you should just go play the original Link to the Past. But if you do know it well, and like you have a sense for the game, and like you know how all the dungeons are beaten, this is really interesting because it forces you to do things that you might not normally do.
If you're tuning in late, so this is Jason Schreier playing for you guys right now. I'm Steven Totillo, and we are looking at Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past Randomizer that was made by people in the speedrunning community. Mixes up the placement of items in this Super Nintendo classic.
Yeah, people in the Link to the Past speedrunning community, which is a really cool community. They hang out in this Discord channel, and I'm sure some of them are watching right now, so shout-outs to those guys and girls. So, do you remember what happens after this, Steven? Is this bringing back memories of playing Link to the Past?
I mean, I remember the castle, but I don't remember what happens. I remember the game starts when it's raining. I have memories of the first time you're in the dark world and you're like transformed or something like that.
Yeah, into a bunny.
But I don't remember a lot that happens. Oh, you can fall down one of those jars, right?
In one of the later dungeons, yeah,
okay.
Or a couple of later dungeons, yeah. But not at this point. So at this point, we have to escape the castle, which we do here.
Oh, yeah, you push that aside, right?
Yeah. So the reason this is in Japanese,
you can cut the curtains, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So one of the reasons is because speedrunners prefer to play the game in Japanese because the text moves a lot quicker than it does in English. I think there's some programming reason as well, although I'm not 100% sure of that. We still have that extra key, which might be useful at some point to skip something or another.
Yeah, but the lack of a lamp is an interesting liability here because you would have been able to light your way.
Yes. We would have been able to light up those torches, but we can't. Yeah, which is kind of a pain. We may have... I'm not actually 100% sure. So the way that I just went through the castle is the quickest way to beat it, like the critical pathway. There might have been other chests in the castle that I missed, and so there might be key items that I missed. Fortunately, we won't be playing the entire game, so it doesn't matter that much, but it's just like another wrinkle because you have to go and find every chest, otherwise you might miss something big, which is interesting.
We also got Chris Person here who's off.
Yeah, you look like you have something to say.
No, I'm just monitoring the chat right now, and some people are saying that the community sometimes does swordless runs.
Yeah, that's another thing that they do to keep things interesting. Yeah, so I just used up my extra key. I think I could have gotten a key from one of those rats, but I just didn't. So we do not have an extra key anymore. I think there's a chest somewhere, unless I missed it. Unless it's like back the other way. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass to do this without the lamp. Is this bringing back memories?
I'm actually noticing when he runs to the right, is it me or does he actually look a little more right-handed than I thought? When you run to the right.
Yeah, he is right-handed. That's one of the quirks of, well, it's just mirrored. That's one of the quirks of Link to the Past. Yeah.
Because we've written about that regularly, his handedness in subsequent games, and I thought we always go back to the concept that he was left-handed early in the games. I didn't remember that the sprite... So why is it that we believe that the default here is left-handed then? Just because the artwork shows him as left-handed?
Yeah, and I think in the first games, I mean, in all the games, he's generally left-handed. Like, he's supposed to be left-handed,
I guess, like
look right now.
And if he walks downward, he's left-handed as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so then obviously...
It's just that it's easier for them to animate it when it's mirrored like that.
Yeah, when I was at E3 and they were showing Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda...
excuse me a second. So at this point, we're not supposed to have bombs yet, but we can open this up because we do. So that's an interesting quirk of this mod. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Let's see what you got in there.
So there could be anything in here. Okay, that's not very useful. That's a map of this dungeon, but we don't need a map in this dungeon. Can we actually see it? No. Yeah, nothing great, sadly.
You can bomb your way out there. Yeah, so going back to what hand is Link's dominant hand at the E3 this year in June, I was there when Eiji Aonuma, the producer of the series, longtime producer of the series, who came aboard during, I think, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, so after this.
Right at the game after this one. He was talking about how Link was right-handed in Breath of the Wild, and people were asking, why that was, and his response, frankly, folks, his response was so absurd that I couldn't even find it. I couldn't figure out where to say it on the site, because I was going to put it in a comment, but it was like we were rushing to get the impressions up. I think GameSpot wound up running it, because he said it to a group of reporters, but he said, well, we always look at the controller and then which button, what side of the controller is going to be creating the inputs for the sword movement. And so he was saying that on the Wii U, because the buttons were on the right, that therefore Link would have he'd be wielding his sword in the right hand. And if you think only as far back as the Wii games, that made sense because most people held the Wii remote in their right hand, and that's what controlled the sword movement. But here we are, Link to the Past, and obviously the buttons are on the right on a Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
And we've got a left-handed character. So overly long story, but it was just kind of a illogical response from Mr. Aonuma. I don't know what he was thinking.
That's not supposed to be there. Just got a bottle. I think the actual answer is that they don't really care that much whether he's left-handed or right-handed. I think you, as a proud lefty,
well, no, I
care
am.
more.
I miss Shigeru Miyamoto's left-handed as well.
That's true.
Maybe he would care. Maybe he doesn't care. But I read a theory that the true reason may be that the Breath of the Wild Link may be the Link from Skyward Sword, and Skyward Sword's Link was definitively right-handed.
So
if it's that Link, then...
Is that one of those timeline things where, like,
yeah, exactly.
in one timeline he's right-handed?
So
could be that.
So usually what I do after escaping that dungeon is go to the town, and I think, hold on, how do I see the map? I don't know. Oh, there we go.
Look at that mode 7.
Yeah, so actually I'm supposed to go, okay, actually we should go talk to that dude in the village, and then we go to the Desert Palace, or the Eastern Palace, which is the first dungeon. And there are a couple of items you can get there. Actually, we could go through the town and see if there are any interesting items we can get.
One of the commenters quotes a part of the instruction manual in relation to his left-handedness.
Oh, they confirm the instruction manual as well? Yeah, I mean, I guess he just changes ways after a while.
No, it's even though Link is left-handed, he holds his shield towards death mode as superstition.
Okay. Well, that was from the era of instruction manuals. Now we have no instruction manuals to tell us any of these things. Well, there's virtual instruction manuals, but that's the same thing.
So this is the town of Kakariko, something like that. I forget exactly what it's called. It's all... I don't really understand what she's saying right now. Do you? Can you read that, Steven?
No.
If only we had a translator.
No. Tomo something... I don't know. Goes too fast. I stopped taking Japanese in 1998.
Yeah, can you read a little bit?
Yeah, like Hayo, I don't know, something, Karu, I don't know. I got
nice.
a couple of, I can
That's
remember a
not
couple of the hiragana, but yeah.
Not
no
bad.
idea.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I mean, I don't speak a word of it, so
yeah.
you beat me.
It wasn't exactly Tim Kaine Spanish.
Wait, where am I supposed to go now? I don't even remember. Is there someone else I'm supposed to talk to?
Man, I thought you knew this game.
Well, I don't know Japanese. Oh, I think I might have picked the wrong option. That's why. Maybe the bottom one. No, I don't think that's right, because I think it just repeated the same message.
One option was, I think, un, and one was zen, but I don't know which... I don't remember what those words mean.
All right, whatever.
Pronounce them.
But now it still wants me to go there.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but let's go find some more chests. So this one, I believe there's supposed to be a heart container in this little secret thing. Oh, there are a few. Okay, there's a heart container. Let's see if we can find anything else in here. Arrows, heart container, another bottle.
So 2 heart containers in one room, that's not normal.
No, that's not normal. And I mean, none of this is normal. Even when it...
Well, the boomerang was normal. You got the boomerang.
Yeah, but I think that was just like a lucky... Like it happened to randomize it as the boomerang.
Randomize it so much that it wasn't random
100.
anymore.
And they have 96 rupees.
There's a Borges short story about a guy who's so obsessed with Cervantes that he wants to honor him by writing something inspired by Don Quixote, and so he basically is like, well, what's the most I guess faithful thing that he can do? He basically winds up just rewriting Don Quixote.
Nice. So I think the bottle salesman is also part of the randomizer, so I think he might sell us something totally random.
Cool. Let's see.
Bombs. Nice. So yeah, I don't know. Damn it. Can you, Chris, are any of the commenters saying if I missed something at that, talking to that old lady, like did I miss some important trigger, or is the map just wrong?
Some people are saying Hyrule Castle. Some people.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of where you're supposed to go?
Yeah, well, I know I'm supposed to go to the Eastern Palace, and in fact, I think we could just go there and start triggering the next events and go into the palace.
Oh,
but
they were also saying you missed like the bomb wall and the net kid.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if I missed any plot triggers that I need to hit before I actually go to the palace, but I don't think I did. Oops. So like right now, if I had the hammer, like if I happen to get the hammer at some point,
Right.
then I can really break things, because then I can actually, I think there's a war point around here that I can get to. And then I can wind up getting stuck in the dark world, which is really interesting, because if you don't have the moon pearl, which you get in the third dungeon, then you are like stuck as a bunny in the dark world, so you're kind of screwed and you can't really do anything. So the creators of the randomizer, they actually put in a failsafe where if you save and quit while you're in the dark world, you'll get automatically returned to the light world, because they don't want you to like get stuck and not be able to make progress.
I was cleaning up my gaming collection over the weekend. It's not a very big collection, but my goal is always to have as few games as possible, just the cream of the crop. Not that
You
I
get
want
rid
to
of them,
games.
or you like put them in the closet?
I give them away.
Okay.
Just like I sent last time I had a big bag full. There's one of the charities where they give games to soldiers. I sent off a box in December. So I had I think I used Operation Supply Drop, and so mailed them off to them. But I just like to have just like the games I know I like absolutely love, and so I'll keep whittling it down and everything. It's fun because I look at the shelf. So I knew I had a bunch of GameCube games still, and I was like, I hope I still have Four Swords Adventures, because I don't really think I appreciated that game when it came out. And I was thinking of actually taking my Wii back out, because I don't have a GameCube anymore, and trying it again. And I was really disappointed to discover that at some point I must have mistakenly culled Four Swords Adventures from my collection.
You need remember that someone mentioned that you need to have the bow to beat this.
Well, the bow is in the dungeon. I mean, it's supposed to be in the dungeon, but we'll see if it's actually in it. Let's see what's back here. So usually there are some just like normal chests in there. Let's see if there's anything useful. Oh, that's interesting.
What does that do?
So that's one of the spell medallions. Oh man, that's really interesting.
Oh, wow.
So this you're not supposed to get until way later in the game in the dark world, and then it lets you summon like a lightning spell. Let's see if we can even use it, because you're supposed to only have it when you have the Master Sword. But yep, that's hilarious.
So I mentioned Four Swords Adventures, the GameCube game, in part because that was the next game in terms of console top-down Zelda, maybe even the only one they've ever made since this one, right? Because all the top-down Zeldas after this
Link Between Worlds
was 3DS.
But it's a top. What do you mean? Oh, you're saying on a console.
They never went back to this style for a home Zelda game.
Right.
They only went back to it once in the 25 years or so.
Yeah, the rest.
And that game was designed that you would play it partially on your Game Boy Advance and partially on the GameCube. And one of the only things I remember about it that I found really intriguing is they broke it up into stages, right? So you would play like almost like an hour-long episode, and they had one that all took place in a town, and there was zero combat, and it was basically what if there was a Zelda game where there was no combat. It was really interesting. Did you play it when it came out? Do you remember it at all?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the only Zelda game I haven't played. Or maybe I played a little bit. I don't really remember. Because I remember Minish Cap had something that was like a similar mechanic. Do you remember that? You played
Minish
through
Cap
and...
was just a GBA game.
Yeah, but it had you could duplicate yourself. So the boss key is not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So the randomizer, and by the way, if you're just joining us, so this is called the Link to the Past randomizer. It's made by a bunch of modders and speedrunners for Link to the Past, and it randomizes the contents of every chest in the game and every item giver in the game. So we just got the boss key at the beginning of the dungeon, even though you're supposed to get the boss key way later, which is interesting because I wonder if we can use it. I'm sure we can use it to break things, or to at least access the boss earlier than we're supposed to. Let's see how this goes. There's another chest. Yeah, that's not supposed to be that either. So the other interesting thing about playing the randomizer is that there could be a pivotal item in this dungeon somewhere. It's designed in a way that won't let you get stuck, or at least ideally, unless there are bugs or something like that. But you have to go and find every chest.
Chad is saying that we need the bow to access the final boss. So if we can't get it, we need to find it. But we don't need to. We can actually kill the boss with the boomwork. It just takes forever.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, I wonder, given what we're all speculating about and what some, including Eurogamer, reported about regarding the NX, what that means for the pace of the flow of development of both 3D and top-down Zeldas going forward. Because what we've seen is Nintendo basically take turns a lot, right? They did Link Between Worlds as a top-down portable Zelda at a time when they didn't have a new console Zelda in the ready to release. They were just doing remakes of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. But if the NX concept that people have been thinking about is correct, then that means that every portable Zelda going forward would also be a home Zelda, and every console Zelda would also be a portable one. And I wonder if they would go into an alternating cycle, which I guess they kind of already are.
Yeah.
Or if they would even decide to hybridize the designs of those two styles of game in some way, like a Zelda that's top down at times, and I guess let's do it, and then 3D. But I'm just curious to see what a Nintendo that can design Zeldas without thinking of them as strictly portable or strictly home would do with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Hopefully cool stuff. Hopefully twice as many Zeldas.
I mean, it was nice to see this design come back for A Link Between Worlds. I mean, when I played that on the 3DS, and now I miss that because it's been a couple of years since then, and I'm happy that they have a big 3D Zelda coming out. The aforementioned Eiji Aonuma, when I interviewed him a couple of years ago about Link Between Worlds, he was talking about how it only took them a year to make the game. So it was incredible.
That's interesting.
Why can't they make another one?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they had the advantage of not having to design a map because they could just use this map as a basis and then work from there. But yeah, that is interesting.
Well, maybe they had an existing engine.
Oh, hey. Well, that's interesting. But the bow's not. So that's supposed to be the boss key. And then the bow is in that big chest that we got earlier that we just got a rupee in.
Do you know if there's a range in terms of how much stuff gets randomized? Like, does it only get randomized within the dungeon, perhaps? And
No, it's definitely throughout. But I think there are rules in place because they don't want you to get stuck. So maybe that I triggered a rule that was like, oh, you should have the bow at this point.
Yeah.
So that's what you were talking about before, jumping into the pot. And I'm doing that because I need one of these guys, and I don't have the bug catching net, so I can't actually.
You can't just get them with a jar.
No, I think you can in later games, or in at least one of the later games.
Yeah, you do that in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. But in this one, you need the bug catching net. So yeah, so we should be able to take on the boss and beat through this part.
Someone said that there was a 5% chance of that happening.
Really?
Yeah,
Is this someone who, is this a modder talking? Or?
Stephen Martin, yeah, I think he's
Oh
actually...
yeah, Stephen Martin is, he's the guy who told me about all this
The only person
in the first place.
The only person I trust to talk about percentages is the wrestler Scott Steiner.
I don't get it.
But anybody on the chat who wants to look up Scott Steiner math, you'll be in for a great time.
Shit.
Oh, you ate it.
Yeah, well,
Sorry. Jason dies when I mention pro wrestling.
I should have equipped the bow. Okay, it's fine. We didn't lose a lot of progress.
Do we keep the bow?
Yeah. You never lose items in a Zelda game.
I don't remember how it. Right? Because I guess you just die and you go back to the beginning of the dungeon every time. That is the hallmark.
Yeah. Although I guess, actually no. In Link Between Worlds, if you were renting an item, you would lose it when you die.
Right. Well, that was that whole interesting other system that you didn't like ultimately. I think you're more anti-rental system than pro-rental system because you felt it dumbed down the design of the dungeon.
Yeah, I like it in concept, and I love the game. I think I didn't like the game at first, and then like as I was thinking to myself, I don't like this that much. I wound up like playing it in like all the way through again for a second time. So I must have really actually liked it. So I actually thought it was really good.
The thing I really liked about the design of the dungeons in that game was how they had a second tier of hidden items. So because of the rental and owner system, they couldn't really lock essential items and everything, but every single dungeon has a bonus item. Whether it's an alternate outfit that makes you tougher or a better, like, whatever. They all have that, and they're really well hidden, and I liked the extra level.
Yeah, I remember finding like one maybe.
Oh, I did them all. It's great.
Or maybe I found them all.
But there's two outfits that you level up with, and they were the last two that I found. So I didn't really need. I didn't need to get them both right at the end. Yeah, I'm a Metroid person and all that. I love finding all the hidden stuff in these games and just seeing where the designers decided to tuck stuff away.
Yeah, I mean that's always been one of the hallmarks of Zelda, which is like one of the things that I wonder if it'll still be intact for the new Zelda game, right? Like if it's kind of as open world and as like, I mean, I guess it's not procedural at all. It's all handcrafted.
Yeah, right. It doesn't seem to be procedural. It has 100 of, I'm now forgetting what they call them. I don't call them temples, but it's something like that. But it's these sort of mini dungeons.
Shrines.
So they do about 100 of those, and those are clearly handcrafted. But there's a relatively small item set or power set in the game. When I talked to Enuma about the game this past E3, he said that you would get most of the stuff early. You level up a lot of the abilities, so like the magnet that you use to remotely pick up metal objects and manipulate things, it's kind of just like a physics manipulator. I think stuff like that becomes more powerful, and it's the math of it becomes more powerful, so it gets increased range and that type of thing. So I do think the game is much more governed by math than a game like this.
Yeah.
It's much more about like, okay, this thing is this high, and your stamina meter is only this much.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that.
Will be able to do that. Right, and it's not the handcrafting. But I also still feel like one of the shoes is not dropped on Breath of the Wild.
Well, we haven't seen dungeons at all yet.
Right, and there may not be that many. I mean, who knows? But I think that there's just an aspect of the game design that
we haven't seen yet.
We don't know what that is.
So this is the first boss in the game. Pretty easy. Oops. I think there's some tactic where, like, if you stand in one place and just keep firing arrows, you just can beat them all without even getting hit. But I do not remember it. Oops. And do you remember what happens when you beat all except one?
No.
This. Oops. Jeez.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I don't think I actually beat the Zelda games. I think I never beat Zelda 2.
Well, Zelda 2 was hard to beat. Both of the first two were hard to beat.
Zelda 2, there's like I don't want to spoil it. No, I don't want to spoil it for people who don't know it.
It's an NES game. I
But
think
there is a
statute of limitation on spoilers has passed.
But the things that happen at the end are cool. But isn't there eventually a very large floating enemy? Is that the final enemy of the game? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember you fight Dark Link and then like a big bird or something.
Away. Yeah, the bird is.
Dark Link has been in so many Zelda games that's not a spoiler.
Hasn't been around since Ocarina of Time, has he?
Yeah, well that's the one everyone knows. So I think
lot of
now I'm
Zelda
supposed to
games
get
since
another item from Sahasura.
Look at you just mangling things.
So let's see what he gives me.
Wow. 1 rupee.
1 rupee. He's supposed to give me the boots, I think, the dashing boots, Pegasus boots. But instead he gave me 1 rupee.
That's
wow.
super funny, actually.
That's terrible.
Don't spend it all in one place.
It's like, here you go, man. Hero.
There is that amazing game they never brought to America, Tingle's
Tingle's?
Freshly Picked Rosy Rupee Land.
Yeah, it's too bad they never brought that in.
I have the import copy from Europe because what was it, GBA maybe? Or I can't even remember. But it was not region locked, so I was able to play it in English. That game is all
Wait,
about...
how did you play it? So they put it out in English in Europe, but they just never brought it here. Oh, wow.
Right. And that game is basically full of moments like what you just experienced, where like the shopkeepers are there to mess with you. They actually don't tell you what anything costs. So you go to the shopkeeper and the shopkeeper will be like, well, how much do you want to pay for it? And if I'm remembering how this works, I think you just you name a price, and if it's too low, they just take your money and don't give you the item.
Wow.
It's like real. I wrote about it when I was at MTV News, and I called it Nintendo's meanest game ever.
That's pretty
and there's
funny.
all these things that are so hostile, and it's all basically
Why do you think they didn't bring it here?
World Zelda.
Do you think that's why they didn't bring it here?
I don't know. I think the
'cause of,
Tingle
the
character is not well
Yeah.
received. That was at a time when I think
So
the
wait, hold
dominant,
on. Hold on, sorry. I just want to... Okay, so if I buy something here, it'll actually give me... I wanted to see if that was randomly generated too. Okay, yeah.
I think I remember IGN 64 was very much the main media for Nintendo at the time in the US, and they were pretty anti-Tingle. You go look up IGN articles on Tingle, and they were
So
we
you
hate
think
this
it's
character.
because of them?
And I wonder if because it's always unclear how certain Japanese studios get impressions of what American gamers actually are interested in.
Actually,
which
so...
obviously even leads to controversies these days about what
Sure,
people think.
yeah. Well,
And I wonder if the negative reputation that Tingle had in some media outlets and on some message boards just
if that helps it.
do it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Hajime Tabata, the director of Final Fantasy 15, I had asked him about that once, and he said he reads Kotaku comments and puts them through Google Translate to get his feedback.
Do they make better sense when you do that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't need a fairy. So right now I'm just going to kind of hunt for chests for a little bit and see if we can find some interesting items. I think there's supposed to be a heart piece in this... oh no, but that won't even be a chest if it just pops up from the water. Actually, let's see what that does. So I'll show you what I'm talking about in one sec. So there's this little shrine thing. And this becomes a dungeon in the Dark World, actually. And so there's a little... If you go in here, it's like a mini dungeon. Oh, actually, we can get this chest. Let's see what's in here. The magic mushroom. Interesting.
What does that do? I don't remember.
That you can bring to the witch in exchange for a potion. Or no, wait. Or in exchange for magic powder. It's supposed to be a heart piece, but it's a green rupee, which is also really funny. We good, Chris? Okay.
Sorry for the momentary technical difficulty.
Yeah,
folks.
momentary problems. For those of you just joining us, by the way, we are playing through Link to the Past Randomizer, which is a modded version of Link to the Past where all the item locations are totally random. So let me think for a second. So if we go down here, we're going to get to... I think you need... From what I remember, I think you need the book to open up the desert there, so we might not be able to do that yet. Yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap things up soon. Let's see if we can find one more chest, and then we'll call it. So we're trying to see what kind of interesting randomness this mod that we downloaded has provided for us. We've already wound up with some items that we're not supposed to have, such as this. I forget the exact name. I think it's Ether. And you're not actually supposed to have that ability until much later in the game. It freezes all the enemies on screen. And you can use it to unlock something or another. I don't remember the exact specifics. So let's see if we can find one more chest. Steven, any memories for you here?
No, I was trying to think before, what was my first memory of this game? And I remember my parents getting me and my brother a Super Nintendo for Christmas one year. It was probably not even the first year it came out, but I remember us having Super Mario World and Pilot Wings. I don't remember when we got A Link to the Past. I know I played it a bit. The music is obviously familiar. I don't know that I played this game that much, though.
Nice. So I think those chests are randomized, but in a different way. So like you won't find a critical item in one of those. Let me think for a second. So this is the house where two brothers are in a fight. So they built a wall between their homes, and you can blow it up. And if we talk to them, they would say something, but we wouldn't understand it because this is in Japanese. And then you can race this person, or you have to beat it within a certain amount of time. But we don't have the Pegasus boots, so I don't know if I can actually do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do it fast enough, sadly. Let's see.
Can you chop signs down on this one, or is that not till Ocarina?
Shit, 18 seconds. Yeah, that wasn't fast enough. I think... Oh, she's glitching out. Uh-oh. Well, this is a beta version. This is a beta version of the most recent randomizer. And so if you guys are watching this, modders, there's a little glitch. You can pick up signs in this one, but you can't chop them down.
I think it's cool that she glitch. I think if you're going to have a randomizer, you might as well have the characters glitch.
So up there, that's supposed to be the book, and once you get the Pegasus boots, you can knock it down. Yeah. We don't have the Pegasus boots, and it's also not the book, but the book is how you enter the Desert Palace. Instead, it's 100 rupees. Okay, so I think this is going to be it for us today, but yeah, you can check this out. There's a Kotaku article about it, and we have a link to where you can find the randomizer. So if you're interested in checking this out for yourself, the Link to the Past randomizer, go to Kotaku and just Google Kotaku Link to the Past, and you'll find the article. Or Google Link to the Past randomizer.
Yeah, thanks, folks, as always,
for watching.
for joining our live streams. We'll have more next week.